tonight, ITV News Central can reveal more cases are still coming forward. Well, Charlotte has been reporting on this story for several years now. And Charlotte, what have you found out?
Well, Steve, this week I've been speaking to two families, both of whom suffered stillbirths this year. So, of course, were not included in that report released in March. Now, they both say they believe if the Trust had given them different treatment, their babies might have survived. Now, they shared their stories and some photographs of their babies after their stillbirths in the hope it might help others. This teddy bear is one of the few things Iona has to remember her son, along with a few photographs taken after baby Jamari was born without a heartbeat.
I haven't been able to come to terms with it being myself. It's hard every single day. You go outside, there's someone with a baby, and I'm happy for them. But it's just like, where's mine?
She went into hospital in Telford in January with reduced fetal movement, and they noticed her baby's pulse was unusually high. She also had protein and blood in her urine. She was sent for additional scans, but was then sent home and told everything was fine. She says she was still concerned, though, and 4 days later she took herself back. Another scan confirmed her worst fears. Just 6 months into her pregnancy, her baby had died.
It just felt like we were fobbed off. Like, they told us there's concerns and did nothing with them, just sent us home. I don't know what happened to my boy. And that was in January. Just answers and closure would be great.
Her loss came after the cut-off date for the independent review led by midwife Donna Ockenden. That identified widespread failings by the maternity service at Shrewsbury and Telford Hospital Trust.
This is a trust that failed to investigate, failed to learn, and failed to improve.
At that time, Chief Executive Louise Barnett told us this.
My job is to make sure that we embrace this report and we bring about positive change, building on the work we've done to ensure that we have the safest possible care for the families that we care for in our community. And we are absolutely committed to doing that. I am confident that we are making improvements, but we have got more to go.
And since then, the Trust insists it has made improvements. They refused to make anybody available to discuss them. It says that of the 52 actions recommended by the interim Ockenden report released in 2020, it's implemented 87% of them. And of the 158 actions set out in the final report in March, it says it's managed to implement 28%. But just 1 day after the final report was published, another mother was admitted to hospital. Hazel went in to be induced at the 40-week point. Hers was classed as a high-risk pregnancy with some signs of preeclampsia. She says she repeatedly asked whether a C-section would be safer, but was pushed towards a so-called natural delivery, a common theme from the Ockenden report, criticised within it. After a prolonged labour, made longer by staffing shortages, Mia's heart stopped beating. And she was stillborn on April the 3rd.
Just keep thinking, had they have done something sooner, I'd be walking around with a stroller and taking her on group trips out. Like, we had so many plans of things that we were going to do, and now it's nothing.
A report by the Healthcare Safety Investigation Branch released just this week has identified failings on one particular aspect of her care, which it says might have changed the outcome. Hazel says she had known about the Ockenden review, but hoped it had already made a difference.
I read everything, I saw all of the documentaries about it, but you automatically think, because everything's going on, they're going to be extra careful, but they're just making the same mistakes. They've not learnt anything. They're still avoiding C-sections, they're still not listening to families.
Legal firm Lanyon Bowdler is currently dealing with 135 cases against the Trust, including 60 stillbirths and neonatal deaths.
We've got 8 cases on our books arising from 2020, and then we've got 2 further cases from 2021 and 2 stillbirth cases from 2022 as well. So it shows to me that it isn't a historic problem at the Trust, and obviously even if improvements are being made, they're too slow because these tragedies are still happening.
And for the families of babies like Jamari and Mia, the wait for answers goes on. Well, a couple of weeks ago, at the launch of another maternity review, this time in Nottingham, we caught up with Donna Ockenden herself, and she reiterated how important it is that families like Jamari's and Mia's do keep speaking up.
One of the big issues that we exposed, I suppose, within the Shrewsbury and Telford Trust was a long-term lack of listening, a long-term lack of learning, and therefore a long-term lack of improvement. And that simply cannot be the way that maternity care is delivered in Shropshire going forward.
Well, we have asked for an interview from the Trust to discuss the improvements they say they're making on a number of occasions since July, but they have repeatedly declined. They have instead sent us a statement about the two stories we've heard today, and it's from the Director of Nursing. It says, on behalf of the Trust, I send my sincere condolences to Mrs Harwood and Miss Dakin and their families for their losses. On the sad occurrence of a stillbirth at our Trust, we follow a robust and thorough investigation process which makes us accountable to families as well as external bodies, and we act on all recommendations to improve the service and care we provide. And if you've been affected by baby loss, there are advice and support links on our website. That's itv.com/central.